Guess who got brands talking? Brandlive.co.za.
Hi, good morning, everybody, and happy Halloween. We're coming to you live from the Brand Live studios here in Melville, 27 boxes, and you've tuned in to the Witee Chatterbots show, Women in Tech, empowering everyone. Hashtag us, hashtag Witee, W-I-T-E-E, show. And I mean, it's quite cool to be here. I mean, this is really around enhancing the lives of the community, and we are here to do exactly the same. I'm Jessica McIndoe, M-C-E-N-D-O-O, just in case. Lover of social media, and my partner in crime joining me today is Carmen Murray. She's an inspirational tech visionary and strategist. And our aim is really to keep you abreast of the latest and greatest trends, sharing case studies, interviewing movers and shakers. Today I get to interview Carmen because she did that last week. It's my revenge this week. And we'll get to give you insights in setting up your brand for success. So we're looking today, I mean, really, because it's Halloween, I have to do this. Boo. Boo! Carmen's much better at it than me. So the theme for today really is the fundamentals to disrupt and delight by activating brand purpose. I know this is very close to Carmen's heart. A little bit about Carmen, because I've known her for a very long time, but in case you don't know, she's a passionate entrepreneur and a consultant, and she's been the tour de force in strategy development. She's an international speaker. She's spoken at over 100 events globally, 20 countries in fact. She's a popular panelist on both local and the international conference circuit. Faculty member of Reba One Youth Entrepreneurship Academy. Phew, so much stuff. Lecturer for the International Business Schools and the South African Business Schools. And her day job is Chief Innovation Officer at Mobitainment. And she's a tech visionary, and she's passionate about the future, innovation, ideas, and strategy. And she uses this ability to inspire our industry. So today we're really going to chat about her masterclasses. We were very lucky at Social Path and Digital Path for her to come and host one for us, which was amazing. She's actually reached over 5,000 marketers, talking on all topics like mobile innovation, gamification, fourth technology transformation.
Love.
And fueling creativity, applying inspiration, brand purpose, and really you get those great ideas from to make your brand actually pop. So, today we're going to talk about how she sort of set these up so that we can talk about how to have the fundamentals to disrupt and activate your actual brand purpose. So I get to pick on you today.
Oh my goodness, I must say you're right. I'm so nervous sitting on this side. I'm like watching, like, oh my gosh, what is going to happen? Anyway.
Yeah, no, it's nerve-wracking being on the other side. It was my turn last week.
I'm more scared for that little 60-second game at the end.
Oh, no. I took some time on those. Okay, so I think, Combs, maybe if we can just let everyone know, like, just to start from the beginning, like, firstly, why do you do these masterclasses?
You know, being in technology and also coming from a marketing perspective, I think what's currently happening in our industry is that everybody is so busy being busy. And there's not enough time getting people inspired. And when it comes to technology, especially, people almost have this technophobia and not the techniques necessarily to put campaigns together. And my aim and goal is to break it down, kill the rock star, make the egos go, break it down simple, that people can actually see how to implement amazing stuff. They don't need to know everything. And taking case studies across the globe. And I've really identified that gap where people really don't take enough time to get inspired and to fill that specific need.
Yeah, no, it isn't. I often hear that, I'm a technophobe. Like, I don't know how to do this. And I think one of the experiences, like, sitting and hearing you and how passionate you are about it, it makes it make sense from a brand point of view. Why did you then decide to go with the fundamentals and disruption to activate brand purpose?
You know, brand purpose is something very dear to my heart. I think what's currently happening is that there's so much trends and, you know, what's happening in the future and how are we going to ask the right questions. But the fundamental thing for brands is to make a difference in your consumer's life. If you don't get that one thing right, I almost call it the Russian doll strategy. If you can't find the core and the heart of what is important to your brand and your consumer, the rest doesn't really matter. And when it comes to purpose, it's almost like technologies. Like, you know, there's the early adapters that know that there's that specific need. And they jump on it, they find the core purpose, but then there's all of these people that copy and paste them, or the brands that copy and paste them as they go along, and don't understand the depth behind every decision that the early adopters are doing. And where this problem becomes more, how can I say, you know, it's almost putting like fuel on a fire, is that when people are copying and pasting, they're not understanding how to make the difference. And I think if we understand the problems in our own environment, in our country, in South Africa, and how we can actually make a difference, that's a good starting point. And having that acid test, almost like, you know, to say, okay, these are the things I need to do, and this is how I need to implement it.
Okay, cool. So no copying and pasting, please.
I don't like copying and pasting. Innovate, simulate,
Yes.
innovate, but don't copy and paste.
Oh, I love all the quotes that you have. But it is, I think brands just really, you can't, what fits for one is not necessarily going to fit for the
100%.
other. So, you know, and there's danger for your brand by doing that, because you're not actually adding that brand value to your
Absolutely.
end user.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, sometimes you can almost see where it starts. I'm not going to name any brands, but I mean, like, the brands that predominantly advertise on, you know, on the broadcasting channels, when you see it's almost everything the same. They use the same taglines. They have everything is power in your hands, or, you know, just try and understand more than just that.
Yeah. And I think also when you're copying and stuff, like, how do you actually as a brand stand out from the crowd? Because why do I have to go to you when I can get it at somebody else? Like, there's no point to do business with you.
Yeah, and you know, further to your point, I was reading an article that I think about 30% of millennials wouldn't care if the brands that's advertising on TV or advertising in the public domain had to close down the next day.
Really?
And it's important because if you're not going to make a difference in consumers' lives, what's the point? But also, you need to understand where consumers are. And it's definitely technology, social media, and you need to give them experiences whilst you're making a difference. But you also need to solve a need. And if you're not doing that, you are just creating a bigger and bigger and bigger gap, and you're going to be like one of those companies, Forbes 500 in 2002. 52% of those businesses are no longer around.
Yeah,
they're not
scary.
featuring because they were out innovated.
Yeah, no, it's scary. I think it also, there was that case study from a couple of years ago, from a business point of view, where I always say, like, who is your Amazon for your brand? Like, who's going to shut your doors? And then they actually had where you could go and use virtual reality, so for cars. So what they did is the room's like probably as big as the box that we sat in. Just it had one car in it, so you don't have a showroom floor full of cars. You put on your headgear and you choose the colors and design, and the brand saved a load of money because they didn't have to have all the insurance and the cars and the floor space, and then all the little add-ons they got to sell, but you had the experience. And they kept a car so that in case people wanted a test drive, but they never wanted to, no one ever test drove that car, and their sales went up, and people were driving out with these snazzy cars and the colors with the mags and everything else that they wanted. Like, you have to think out of the box.
100%. And also, we have such a volatile market out there, and things need to be convenient for consumers.
Yes.
They want to see that, but also you need to come in with the price. So if you're spending millions and millions of dollars getting a vehicle in an exhibition and setting it up, and you don't have a lot of feet in store coming actually to, well, feet in store, I mean people just walking into your exhibition and experiencing the vehicles, you've wasted a lot of precious money, and it actually increases the cost of your product. So you need to look at ways of how you can be, they like to call it frugal innovation, where you really look at being far more innovative in how you're spending money and making it not just convenient but also affordable for the consumer.
Okay, no, awesome. I mean, that's brilliant points on there, like the affordability and not wasting the money. We all have those conversations with our bosses.
Yes.
Just on your masterclass, you talk about the fourth technology transformation. Like, maybe just can you explain for us simple, not market technology phobic people, what is that, and why do you believe that it's so important?
Good question. The technology transformation. So let's go back in time. So the first transformation was in the 1970s, where people started using text characters and talk directly to computers. So your engineers would punch in cards, and then the computer. Now, I think if you think of IBM MS-DOS operating system, they used to punch in these text and then share information, and this is how the tech professionals used to do things. In the second transformation, it was the Macintosh in 1984. It
was
feels
like 2 then.
I mean, yes.
The days before Macintosh. Who would have thought? Chakara.
And then the most powerful paradigm shift that happened was the third transformation, which was 10 years ago when Steve Jobs launched the first iPhone.
Wow.
And shortly after that, the Android phone followed. And this is where everything changed, where it wasn't just mobile technology or a mobile phone. It was now a computer within a mobile phone. So it's all of these little shifts that happened. And now we're in the dawn of the fourth technology transformation. So what that means is that it will move from what we carry to what we wear. So instead of giving an example, I know this is very future forward, but
that's why we're here. We want to know.
So instead of typing, for example, with our hands, we will type with our eyes and with virtual keyboards. In the previous transformation, it was all about the transformation of technology and people. Now it all becomes about the experience, and that changes nearly everything. So this is going to be things like artificial intelligence, augmented reality, virtual reality, and mixed reality. And the reason I talk about that is, I don't know if you've heard about Magic Leap. So Magic Leap is one of the most secretive startups, and it's all about mixed reality. I think there's over $4.2 billion already invested in this startup. Nobody knows what it's about, and every now and then we hear a little bit of information coming out. But essentially, mixed reality is going to change the way we engage with our lives. Virtual reality and mixed reality. So mixed reality, for you guys that don't know, is a combination of augmented reality and virtual reality. And we are going to augment our own environments and engage with it. And we have no idea how this technology is going to change our lives. Yes, there's going to be the youngsters. That's going to be the early adopters of these technologies. And I think we need to watch out for this because when your first customer walks into a store, how are you going to engage that consumer? Because it's very immersive. So that's why I bring that up, because that's a way that you can reel people in with purpose.
That's for me is what's scary. It feels like Terminator, and maybe because I'm old, because I am from the 80s. I'm the 80s child, but like it's exciting because I mean we just the possibilities and that unknown, and like I think if I look from a brand point of view of saying like how do we take this thing that's coming, this big thing that we just don't know where we're going to, and how do we as brands actually take advantage of, well, not take advantage, but like create that experience for the next generation of customer.
100%. So it's easy. I think we first need to break down the stereotypes of what's happening. I think it's almost like rapture talk. I like to call it rapture talk,
Okay, yeah.
The end of the world is coming. Are
yeah.
you ready? And I, as much as I'm a believer in Christianity and all of that, what happens in the techno world is that we are starting to create this hype and starting to make each other scared of what's coming. And I don't think it's that case. I think we need to realize that it's man and machine against a problem rather than man versus machine. And
Awesome,
and that is the one differentiator that we need to consider. Another thing that is important, technology is not there to take over the world, etc. Although, yes, if we don't control it and set rules and regulations in place and how to control it, I'm sure it will get to that stage. But it's important to realize that technology is there to solve problems. If we look at how busy people are, they can't even cope with their day-to-day work schedules. 90% of their time is, and I raise my hand as well, 90% of my day is running daily operations. 10% is about crisis management. But if you want to become creative and if you want to explore and get new ideas, you need to spend at least 20 to 30% understanding what's out there and get inspired and do research and really immerse yourself in that world rather than your day-to-day operations, because otherwise you're not going to break this vicious cycle of copying and pasting one another.
Right. And I think that eventually then you just become that dinosaur.
Yes. and you know what? Life passes you by and the gap just becomes bigger and bigger.
No, also, I mean, I think you've just highlighted like why it is so important to just be forward thinking. And I really liked how you said that it's not man versus machine. It's actually, it's solving real life problems, creating experiences and working through all this tech that's coming with the new exciting stuff to actually succeed within your business. So that's amazing.
Exactly. I mean, I just want to highlight this quote. I always talk about digital Darwinism. Now, Charles Darwin in 1809, he had this quote where he said, "It's not the strongest of the species that survives, nor the most intelligent, but the one most responsive to change." Wow. So if we adapt to change every single day of our lives, things will get better.
Sure. From how far low was that? In what? I'm sure we're sitting somewhere like 2017. I can't believe that someone was talking about that all way back then. I mean, it's just...
I mean, look at Einstein. I mean, that man is my superhero. I love him.
It's crazy. So I know you like your quotes, okay? So you always say that sport has the power to change the world, like our great Madiba used to say. So, why do you believe that this actually relates to purpose?
So, yes, indeed. So when my husband and I met the first time, he said to me, if you want to have a career and you want to do well in life, you need to understand sport. And especially soccer. And I thought he was crazy. And I thought it was absolutely crazy. But then I started observing how he engages with sport in his day-to-day life and how the fans are responding to the good and the bad. And I think we're going to take this after the break, but I'm going to share with you his story and why I arrived at this topic.
Okay, we'll go to the ad break and we'll touch base when we get back.
Making a bold statement yet blending into the surrounding suburbs of Melville, 27 Boxes is a realization of edgy design and practical implementation. A radical departure from the shopping malls of our generation, yet not a return to the high streets of our youth. 27 Boxes showcases the best of a shopping centre set in a garden, surrounded by the bohemian suburb that is Melville. 27 Boxes, shop, play, eat.
Welcome back, everybody. You've joined the Witee Chatterbots show. You can hashtag Witee, WITEE. I'm here with Carmen Murray, who's been sharing really around the fourth technology transformation and brand purpose. And before we went to the ad break, she was just really talking about sport and how that relates to brand purpose. So maybe just carry on with your views on what brand purpose is and why it is so important.
100%. So I'm going to start with the story of my husband. So when he was 4 years old, he comes from Dublin. He and his dad went onto a ferry and they went to go and watch a game in Leeds. And this was a very powerful moment between father and son. And they arrived, and they were. It didn't matter the background of the people that you surrounded with. Everybody is there for one common cause, and that's to support Leeds United. Now they were like Man United is today, on top of the league, etc. But then something happened. Leeds United, they were relegated, and people still laugh at my husband because he supports Leeds United.
I'm sure there's a lot of people laughing right now.
I know, and people are taking around and they make fun, but I wanted people to understand the why, and I had to understand the why because it really fascinated me. So they got what is the word? I just said it, and regular. Anyway,
Yes.
so they went under administration, lost all their funds, and they had financial problems, couldn't afford the right players, etc. But then something powerful happened. So even not having the best players, not being on top of the table, being in the championship league, these fans are incredible. And if you listen out to all the commentators, they always say that Leeds United have the best fans. So they put the song together where they sing Marching On Together. But their words is like, we've been through it all together and we've had our ups and downs. We're going to stay with you forever, at least until the world stops going round. So every time it's like a Mexican wave of song. When something happens on the field, hundreds and thousands of people just get together and sing, and it just goes moggy. They have some of the biggest celebrities like Russell Crowe supporting them as a gladiator of fans. Then you've got a Gary Monk. So Gary Monk was welcomed by the team, almost took Leeds to the playoffs. Then he resigned at the end of the season. The moment he did that, everybody on Twitter started this thing, #unfollow Gary Monk, and they all started unfollowing him. Like within a couple of hours, all the Leeds fans left him. But then there's Lucas Radebe. So Lucas Radebe was a South African player for Kaizer Chiefs, and then he moved over to Leeds United. He became a captain, unsung hero. He was a celebrated hero. Sorry about that. But sadly, his wife passed away of cancer, yet the Leeds United fans have always cherished him, and they've supported him through this horrible thing that happened, unwavering support, and until today, like, everybody loves Lucas Radebe. And if you look at the band Kaizer Chiefs named themselves that name because of Lucas Radebe, because they're big Leeds United fans. My husband supports. Yes,
Okay. I didn't know that.
yeah. My husband supports the Kaizer Chiefs. Our dogs are named after Leeds United players, Luciano Becchio and Lady
There you
Bamba.
go. You want this lady as a brand fan, right?
So you see, so sport plays a very important role. But why am I sharing this story? These are the things that's important to know, is that your brand must facilitate the connection between people. Everything is connected, and you need to find out how those moments connect. It can all end in an instant, so make every moment count. The brand needs to be inclusive. It should not discriminate, but unite people.
Yeah.
And, you must bring meaning and purpose to their lives so that they want to come and celebrate with you every Saturday, every week's night when they're so exhausted. You are the beginning and the end of their lives. If you want people to sing and dance about you, give them hope and something to believe in.
Awesome.
You don't need to pay celebrities to support you. It comes naturally. Your fans will defend you without you needing to ask for it. The fans will support you through the good and through the bad. And if you make them proud, they will honor you and let the whole world know about it. And they might just, name their dogs after you.
Yeah, you're going to have to get lots more dogs if you're falling in love with other brands, right? It's going to cost a fortune in dog food and Beatles. I think really, those points are really what resonate as well. Even Madiba used rugby for the whole nation to pull it together. It just, sports is, I do agree with you. It's something that binds us all together. And I think when you can do that as a brand, it's just amazing.
Exactly. And I think sport really tells the story of loyalty. And, and brands always want loyalty, but if you aren't making a difference in other people's lives, as Richard Branson would say, you shouldn't be in business. It's that simple.
Yeah, no, agreed. So, I mean, if you've those 5 fundamentals that you were talking about earlier, like, what are those that you can disrupt and delight?
So I would like to put my own unique twist to it. So the 5 fundamentals.
I wouldn't know you any other way, Carmen. Just your unique twist.
So keeping it in line with sport, the 5 fundamentals. The first one is: do you want to be a goalkeeper? Do you want to be a defender?
Okay.
A striker? A coach? Or a referee? Let me elaborate.
Okay.
So if you look at a goalkeeper, one of the major positions, they're responsible to prevent the ball from going into the net and of the opposite team scoring. But they're also very responsible for all of the strategic work that happens on the field. So they have quite a big input on that. And that is where prevention happens, a cause with a cure, where brands go and they do a tremendous amount of research. If you look at breast cancer, if you know how you would do a lot of amount of research to try and solve the problem, and then finding a cure. Not that there's not necessarily a big cure, but prevention is better than cure.
Yes,
and
agreed.
trying to prevent. When you understand what the problem is, trying to prevent things from happening in society. There was a great example, QQ Alert. They actually won a can for it this year, where they are a huge social media platform in China, and they had all of these humongous big problems with people getting lost children at the young age.
Sure, yeah.
And they couldn't
Scary.
find these young people because 20 years later they didn't know what they look like. If you look on the ban on children, if you were only allowed to have one child and you lose that child, the impact that would have on you as a person is horrible. I mean, I can go on and on about this case study, but because of time, I'm going to make it quick. But what they did is they took a database of 20 million consumers, and they uploaded it and used facial recognition, and you could upload a picture of somebody that's gone missing at the age of, say, 6 months old or 5 years old, and it would use facial recognition, and it could actually pick up exactly what you look like today. 99.8% accuracy. They managed to find 176 people and brought the families together, but also they used their own social platform to solve the problem of social instability, which is a long story behind it, but also in solving the problem in finding missing people.
Oh, yeah, and I mean, the end result is just like families being reunited, which is just amazing.
Exactly, and it's preventing that problem of occurring and finding those children. The second one that I like to refer to is protect. So this is all about the defenders. The defender's primary role is protecting and defending to prevent the opposing team from scoring, and that's exactly that. That is protecting people that can't help themselves, whether it's children, people in poverty, literacy, addressing those problems. And we see a lot of brands, like I know Unilever is intensely involved in making a difference in the townships. There's so many ways of how you can make a difference here. We've seen Mom Connect. That was done as well for infant mortality and how they managed to decrease the infant mortality by 20%.
Yeah.
So those are the kind of things to consider. The third one is the striker, which is all about goals. And this is celebrating what's happening in people's lives. Help them reach little milestones, personal goals, and celebrate it along the way. My favorite example is the Philips Choir. Is people that had breathing problems, and they got this phenomenal voice coach in, and they said to them, you're just not breathing properly, but you actually can sing, and they're all on oxygen, and it's like such a crazy thing to watch. But I mean, you really need a box of tissues. And then what they did in 3 days, they managed to train them, and they had to go and sing at Apollo,
Really?
and it was this huge performance, and it was the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. And they actually discovered that they were able to sing. They just didn't know how to breathe properly.
Wow, that's amazing.
Even having that disability.
I've got goosebump pills.
And that is helping people reach their goals.
Yeah, no,
Goosebump pills. Okay. And the fourth example, which I am very passionate about, is coaches, which is training collaboration. If you look in sport, there's over 15 coaches involved at one time with a team to help them reach their potential. So it's teach a man to fish, but then give them the fishing rod. And it's really
awesome,
going
yes.
out there and helping to educate people, but also giving them that opportunity to use what you taught them.
Yes, yeah.
And then the last one that I like to refer to is the referee, and that's enforcing the law.
Okay.
So
Don't know if that one's me.
So the referee is the one with the whistle, and he is responsible to enforce the law of the game.
Okay.
So this is taking a stand against crime and things that you
Okay,
don't
I changed
like.
my mind.
Since you've been arrested like twice.
Again, I maintain, not my fault.
I'll keep quiet. Okay, so taking a stand against crime, for example. And if you look at Vodafone, they did this amazing thing with women being domestic violence. My Afrikaans is getting the best of me today.
It's okay, it's because it's Halloween. It's all the ghouls coming out.
So I can just see like I have to rush with this. We have such little
I
time.
know, you're trying to avoid your 10 questions. I can
think so.
feel this in my mind.
But I mean, just to close off, Vodafone did this thing where they created an app.
I know, I
to
love this case
help,
study.
Women that's in a situation in Turkey where there's domestic violence, they can't actually report it unless they're caught in the situation. And the way the brand put this case study or this app together for people to notify 3 friends when they're being abused, and how they arrive and how they manage to advertise it, hidden advertising. Unbelievable case study.
I know that case study when you were sharing it, like just for everyone who doesn't know, like they would, when a person actually clicked, if I've got this right, like if you were a woman, then you would actually see the ad and could get the help. But if you weren't a woman, then you actually would see something completely different. So that way it was like secret, so they could actually get help without feeling like too scared to do that, which was just, it was superb. It was like an amazing campaign.
It was so good. And the thing is that their goal is in reverse. So they want the less that people would actually download this particular app, they know they've achieved their goal, and they had a decrease of 27%.
It's amazing.
So it's quite phenomenal. Happy if you want to chat to me about all of these case studies or the masterclass. Happy to come and do it with you guys. But my only closing statement is that if you're lucky enough to do well, it is your responsibility to send the elevator back down. But then saying that, it's Kevin Spacey, and he's actually on the news, not for the right reasons.
No.
So I don't know if that's going to go well. Anyway.
Oh, no. But if you guys do want to connect with Carmen, I mean, you can reach her on LinkedIn. And we are Chatterbots, and Carmen, she will spend hours with you sharing case studies and giving you like vision on how to actually just take your brand forward. It's amazing. You have to have more time. No, it is. I mean, that's why, like, you always like, I'm always excited to sit with you on a Tuesday and be like, what's new?
Oh, shame.
So we've come to that time where you've been avoiding it. 10 questions. Let's see if you can do better than I did last week. Okay.
Don't ask the question for too long.
Okay. Yes, I've been told I take too long. Okay, 1, 2, 3. What's the most ridiculous fact you know?
I don't know. Move on.
Okay, how many shoes do you have?
23.
Oh, what's the most you spent on a shoe?
I am not to be disclosed in this, but
Okay. The
yeah.
answer is there. Okay. What do you think used to be considered trashy but now is actually classy?
You see, purple hair.
Oh, I got purple hair. How rude. Okay. Worst masterclass and why?
Worst masterclass and why? I think it was my first workshop trying to teach people on database marketing.
Bitcoin or $1 million right now?
Bitcoin.
Oh my goodness. And if we think of like scary now, what part of a kid's movie actually scared you the most?
There was this movie with this mud people, like it was,
5, 4, 3, 2.
Jeez, I
Same. Oh no. See, it's not so easy. Now
heart
we
is
know what our
going.
guests feel like when they're here. Oh,
Okay,
no.
the shoes I can't reveal because my husband will be like traumatized.
Oh no.
And I think my mom too, so I don't want her to comment on that.
no,
And
okay.
also, I just want to say something.
Yes.
It's my mom's 70th birthday tomorrow. So I
Sam,
just want to say
happy
happy birthday, Mom. Love you.
Yay! Awesome. Thank you so much. I've had so much fun. I hope like you guys have seen a whole load about, where the forced technology transformation is going, learning a little bit about those fundamentals, like choosing which player you are in the game, and just really getting that purpose. We're going to be interviewing someone next week, so join us. And remember to hashtag Witee. We will answer you after the show. And yeah, that's Jessica McIndoe and the
Carmen Murray.
Yes, signing off. See you next week, guys.
brandlive.co.za. Harnessing the power of talk radio. brandlive.co.za. Guess who got brands talking? brandlive.co.za.